What is happening? Hello. I am here. I am here. Stop it. Stop it. That's not true. It's not true. Anyways, appreciate you guys hopping in. Give the post a retweet, a like on YouTube, actually, if you can. That would be amazing. Oh yeah, Rivian. Man, market is like all over the place today. It's got clearly a case of the Mondays. We'll talk about Miss Cleo later, but I was looking at her forecast today. She called this again? If you can believe that, it's just freaking absolutely insane. But multi-baggers, yeah, for sure. Rivian is a huge one. What's up, Fud? Appreciate you, dude. But yeah, I don't typically trade a lot on Mondays. I was just kind of looking. I think I traded a decent amount today, but it's mostly because, guys, I don't believe what the market does on Mondays, like ever. So if you're wondering about it, don't believe what you see. I kind of think, just gonna go out on a limb, that might be the low for the month. We'll see. But to that end, here, let's get into it. So every Monday, what we do here, if you're new to the channel, is just kind of go over what happened last week. What are some of the catalysts moving forward for this week, and what do we have to look forward to in terms of economic data, things like that, and some potential possible trades. So yes, the short at the open was absolutely excellent. No question. And I came in today long Palantir calls too, and I was like, holy crap. I was looking at it, I was like, this thing looks a little toppy, just a little bit. Sure enough, it happens. But hey, it's been worse, that's for sure. All-time highs, I'm just saying, not really bearish. Just not really bearish. And we do have a decent week of data, but last week we talked about the holidays and what we could expect. And I was thinking, maybe we have a week or two of decent volume. So I think we're nearing the end. We'll see. But anyways, let's get into it. And if you guys do have tickers, go ahead and drop them in the chat and I will review them towards the close. A couple headlines this last week. So oil rose more than 2.5% on this headline of U.S. sanctions on Iranian oil OPEC Plus signed a agreement to extend production cuts. So that was bullish, but then later on in the week, we got this weather data, super weird. So December 8th or 18th, weather expected to be warmer than usual. Also large builds in inventories of nat gas and distillates, and then crude reverse course and gave it all back. So this thing has been a crazy trade. If you're not familiar with the oil trade, or even I want to say natty gas. Like natty gas has had a weird run. It's been super volatile as normal, but I think like weekend gaps have been pretty predominant right now. So it's a tough one. You guys, man, Rivian, I will say I bought back some Rivian shares. Not a lot. I'm still in the camp, of a handful of stocks that could have been the 10xers in 10 years. Rivian's still in there, right? And I think if JR, or they can basically get that company to be profitable per vehicle sale, yeah, that the moment that starts to look like a real reality, that stock is going to be on the move. But for right now, I think it's more speculation than anything. So it's a good pump, and it is over some key levels. So we will take a look at that for sure. And of course, Netflix, definitely. So anyways, moving forward. So economic optimism, I don't know if you guys know what that is, but we did get a reading, when everything's super bullish, and that's kind of like where I could see, okay, well, we have a little bit of a pullback today. We have CPI and we have PPI later this week. So that's definitely notable. Coming into this week, volumes starting should really start to fall off towards the end of the week. But we were at really like epic highs, right? Optimism 40-month high economic optimism. That's crazy. JOLTS, that's job openings, not how many jobs were taken. That is NFP. Job openings climbed to 7.74 against a 7.38 million forecast. So that was slightly better than expected. Services sector, though, this is where it got a little rough. So services have been leading the economy. We are a services-led economy versus manufacturing. And services started to take a little bit more of a dip. So that might be where we're getting a little choppiness. We talked about the weather stuff. Consumer sentiment, again, 8-month high. It's pretty good. So a lot of the sentiment in general has been pretty bullish. So to see a little bit of a pullback makes sense to me. And then, of course, NFP. So non-farm payrolls estimated at 194,000 jobs. We actually came in hot at 227. Good news was good news. Versus the 12K prior. So like the prior numbers on NFP are kind of like nothing burgers, because that was, if you guys remember, that was like the like hurricane stuff, and the numbers were all messed up. But just the same, higher than expected or higher than forecast. Private payrolls. This is, if you're to break down NFP, we do want to see private payrolls gaining the most, and that came in at 194 against 164,000 estimate. That actually is pretty good. That said, a lot of that is seasonal jobs, things like that. Manufacturing looking a little bit better, coming in at 22K versus 15K, and government jobs. Government jobs had been high coming into this when we're looking at these NFP reads, which makes sense for the election stuff, but it's not really what you want to see moving forward. We really want to see that private payroll piece, government jobs expanding. That's just it doesn't really do a whole lot for us. So let's go ahead and move forward, though. So this week, not a ton on deck. I think it's going to come down to Wednesday and Thursday. So it could be a little choppy. Today, consumer inflation expectations actually, I believe, came in slightly better. Today we got Monday. Consumer inflation, actual came in at 3%. So slightly higher than the prior, but exactly at forecast. We had a 3 and 6 month bond auction, really not doing anything to the market. Tomorrow I had to stretch to get this unit labor costs. Maybe you could do a little bit something, and we have something called Red Book also tomorrow. But really, it's a pretty light day tomorrow. Mostly coming into CPI Wednesday, which is not my favorite economic read, but it's the market's favorite economic read or data point. For sure. So the market does react quite a bit on CPI, but lately the market's been figuring out that, hey, PPI may be a little bit more important, or at least a little bit more of a leading factor. So PPI, to me, more important than CPI. Both are lagging. So if you're not sure what these are, so CPI is Consumer Price Index, which is what actual inflation legitimately is. Or was, rather, because it's past tense. So it's what it was. PPI is producer price inflation. Again, what the producer's inflation was, not like this last month. And the idea of, does PPI lead into CPI? That's more like, hey, look, do the producers pass down potential inflation costs of their goods and services to the consumers that they're selling to in general. So that's why PPI is maybe a little bit more important for the actual market read. But again, the market actually, they react significantly more on CPI than PPI. I see Real BC's asking about leverage. We can cover this. Maybe in the server, that might be a little bit more in-depth question. And then Friday really is like a nothing burger, man. We got imports and exports. I mean, really not market moving at all. I did want to revisit Fraggle's favorite chart here. This is election year seasonality. So we had this dip, actually came in hot. And I think we're looking at almost this right now. So, here we are, all-time highs again. This is December. So December, I think we're like mid-December. And then depending on from here, I think it's all about how the market digests last Friday. And so if you're familiar with how I trade, things like that, I think it's very much about, whether or not we get a Santa rally or the Grinch comes to roost or the Grinch comes, both can happen. I've seen both happen. I've seen no Santa show up on years where we're actually supposed to be like lowering rates. So that's possible. Just keep in mind, Santa rally is not necessarily a foregone conclusion. And even so, it's like after Christmas heading into the new year. So, for now, I want to stay bullish. For now, as long as we're closing and opening over Friday's low, I definitely want to stay bullish and stick with the trend. In terms of earnings, look, we are done with earnings season. This is the very back end of it, the very last piece. We got C3AI tonight, who has been on a bit of a tear. What is this? Braze. Actually, if you don't know Braze, this is kind of becoming an interesting small cap equity. Kind of, it's AI software play, but yeah, we'll see how it does. There's a lot of large funds that are actually long this name. Not super familiar with it, but the chart looks decent. We'll see how it reports on tonight, which could be something that you want to put on your radar. AutoZone tomorrow morning. Yeah, it's just really look Costco. So by the way, we have Adobe and Broadcom for the last like large names that report. Maybe Broadcom continues this rally from Friday into this week. I think so. Let me take a look. AVGO. I don't know. Nope, not. So Broadcom had a really good day Friday. Not holding it together today. So now we're below. So maybe that's done. And Costco, guys, just so you know, Costco is usually nothing burger move. So I would not trade Costco with anything. I would probably sell credit spreads on Costco, thinking that it goes pretty much flat. And RH, this one is a big mover. BA finally broke 160. Yep, we can cover that for sure. And a lot of other requests here. There was a couple. So one thing I did want to go through. So I reposted this. Lux does they started to do this like once a week, like what do we call? Like a catalyst watch. It's actually pretty good. Apple all-time high, by the way, today. Again, Apple was looking, I almost cut this thing. I was looking at the pre-market and I was like, look, this thing looks a little bit toppy, but nope. My note was that, hey, if it does breach slightly, that could be the liquidity grab that we need to break out of this range. Here we are, all-time highs yet again. Look at this chart, man. Is this not a thing of beauty? Like absolute thing of beauty? This is just crazy. Just insane. How many of these? I don't need this. So I was looking at 260s would be, I think 256 right in here is where we're going. But this is off of, this headline induced, if you will, new AI features to be released on Apple in this coming update. And I'm pretty sure I will go get my new AI phone this month. So why not, right? Why not? When is the Lux algo? I think I just have to push the button on that. I'm kind of lagging on there. But in terms of catalyst, a lot of China stimulus stuff today. Chinese stocks were absolutely booming. I haven't seen them. Let me see, Baba. Yeah, Baba's still at the highs. Yeah, look at this. Here, I'm going to drop down into like a 30-minute chart. So Chinese stocks still going. Finally got some actual stimmy that the market liked. Look at big old stick on Baba. We got JD, BIDU, Baidu. All of these names, yeah, market likes for the first time in a very long time is liking what was going on in the stimulus. So, wholesale inventories, this is Monday. So tomorrow, this is what I was saying, unit labor costs potentially, really not a lot. We got that earnings here, and this is the actual stimmy conference day. So if we get this China stock rally, I've just been like consistently on the buy the rumor, sell the news. I would hedge my China equity on Wednesday because this is the actual conference. Just saying, just saying. And we also get CPI first thing in the morning. So yeah, this is, and you know what? If I was gonna pick anything crazy, squeezy, Tiger, Futu, those are the two Chinese. They're two like Chinese trading apps that those get absolutely crazy rippy. So stimulus conference day 2 on Thursday. We talked about core PPI, Broadcom, Costco, after hours earnings, and then really, I mean, nothing on Friday. So that's it really for the data set. Let me see if Evan. I get to Evan. Evan posts one also. We can do this. If you don't know how to get to the, let me read it first and we can see what he posted. Yeah, Catalyst watches here. So Monday is a little bit more in depth. Earnings, Etsy, Shake Shack, Vivid. So consumer conference, Raymond James Consumer Conference today starting. We could take a look at Etsy. Goldman Sachs Financial Services Conference starts tomorrow. Interesting. Banks are getting shellacked right now, I believe. Let me see. They still are. Yeah, but they're towards the lows. So we can look at that. So JPM holding up actually pretty decent. Bank of America towards the lows. Wells Fargo, yep, lows. And it's not Citigroup really holding in. Wow, 72.50. Look at this turnaround, man. This has been do you see this chart? Could you imagine an actual turnaround in Citigroup? That would be wild. No, this is split city for sure. All right. Investor day. Yeah, not a lot. Planned takeover. Kroger planned takeover. Albertsons. Interesting. Didn't see that one. And then Barclays annual global tech conference. Autodesk, GoDaddy, CRM, Twilio. Twilio has been on an absolute tear, man. If you haven't seen that chart, what a turnaround. Since they reported earnings, this thing has just gone absolutely parabolic. It doesn't look like it on the charts, but look at this. Just this last few weeks, 60%. That might be a bit much since this earnings. Boy, that's crazy follow through. Grief investor day, mortgage applications. Yeah. A lot of investor days. And oil's kind of interesting here. It's a little bit of a bid, but we can take a look. Jobless claims. Yeah. Reporting Broadcom. We talked about that. That's it. All right, guys. Oh, no. Stop it. Definitely going to distribute. Is it time for the intro music? Yeah. Let's do this. So I know we're all waiting for it, but let's go ahead and check in with our buddy, Miss Cleo, and we'll get to the charts and we'll get this one done pretty quick today. Let's hit it. All right, guys, now it's time for your favorite part of the show. This is our tarot reading with Miss Cleo. I swear to God, she is just so crazy. But so theme card is the moon. Looks pretty decent to me. Oh, yellow. By the way, I didn't talk about this, but did you guys know China is like one of the biggest buyers of gold? So I do want to check out the gold chart since they did mention that they're back on that bus again. So definitely something to watch out for. Miss Cleo calls this like Sunday night, and like this is the Three of Swords, stab you through the heart. This is the heartbreak card. That's what it is. I don't know how she does this, but yeah, it was heartbreak for a lot of longs this morning. Definitely. Here we are. She called it ahead of time. Believe it or not, that's what it is. Tomorrow we get Temperance, Page of Swords, 8 of whatever this is. I think it's wands, and then justice on Friday. I know this theme card looks pretty decent, but this looks like today's going to be the low. Base out, go back to battle, and close on the. I just saying this looks like close on the highs, but maybe a little choppy. Let's see what she says. All right, so the theme card per Miss Cleo is the moon, right? So in an uptrend, this card says that the illusion will be revealed and we may suffer from bouts of weakness during this time. Okay, fine. That doesn't mean the entire week is expected to be bearish, but that we may see initial selling event to bring us back to last week's range. Well, that's where we are. We've only drawn this once as a theme card, and it was positive. Let's see what the daily cards say to clean up this conflict. So today, yes, Monday was a 3 of swords, generally signals heartbreak, but it has favored continuation historically, which means we could see buying pressure to start the week. Well, she was wrong about that, but maybe, and just maybe, this is the lows. And we will go, I need to go through NFP for you guys so you see how this works. Last Friday card was Major Arcana, so 3 doesn't tell us much. The likely play is green with the chance to trend and bury short sellers. Either way, no, I wouldn't fade this card. All right. Well, she was wrong. My read on the heartbreak card was straight up heartbreak. Her read, I don't know. But anyways, I don't know. I don't know what that is. Tuesday is temperance. So what does she say? Temperance. This is some kind of some of this and some of that. Some of this and some of that. Okay. Balance. That sounds like choppy. We can expect some chop and consolidation without great setup for day trading. I might call bullshit on that. Well, maybe it's a swing trade. If we gap up, yeah, there's not really going to be any day trading for sure. At least on the indices. Individual stocks may be better, may be the better move here. If you're a call seller, this may be a day. Oh, so that means up if it's call seller on Tuesday. Wednesday, Page of Swords. Today we try to start something new, guided by fresh energy and keen intellect. Intellect. Okay. This card almost always brings mean reversion and is often negative when it follows a flat day. So if we gap up to the highs of Friday, tomorrow, it's going to be a pretty much instant short. Look for a strong start with an afternoon fade in terms of energy. It doesn't mean you should fade the morning action, just that the momentum may die a bit. Okay, fair enough. Thursday is the 8 of Wands. So Thursday, this day should give day traders. All right. So she's saying day traders, y'all can trade. A lot to play with. We can expect rapid action and impulsivity in the same general direction as Wednesday's price action. All right. So I think I got the read here. Despite the move it generates, this one loves to close near flat. So I would not chase rallies or dips here and would instead plan to sell rallies and buy dips. I like it. Friday is justice. We had a continuation day, Thursday, and now it's time to retrace. Justice usually brings movement in the size of the prior day's movement. Justice usually brings movement in the size of. She's got a typo there, meaning trend day brings a trend day. Okay, got it. And a choppy day brings a choppy day. So if Thursday was choppy, Friday's going to be choppy too. If Thursday was trendy, Friday will be trendy. Major Arcana, so energy should be quite strong and obvious. That means run with the trend. So recapping, she has this crypto thing. Do you guys want to? Do you want to see the crypto read? She has one. You let me know. So like crypto, we get a mix of mean reversion and continuation with lots of chop. If you don't want to see crypto, that's fine. Yeah. Otherwise, we can get back right into the charts. All right, so that's it. Pretty choppy. I think I can read this pretty clean. I'm going to drop down this. Yes, sure. All right. Well, anyway, so I'll just do this quick and dirty. So crypto is a 6 of whatever that is. 6 of cups, emperor, Ace of Swords. Ooh, that's pretty. I think that's bullish. Knight of Pentacles, Queen of Swords, and then and then Death. All right. Move from 10, 6 of Cups. That should be mean reversion retracement. Don't have a lot of historical data on this one, and it's never been drawn as a theme, so that limits us. However, general theme for this card is that we are thinking about the good old day. I think crypto is important right now just because there's a lot of crypto stocks moving. However, the general theme for this card is that we are thinking about the good old days and reminiscing versus not enjoying the present. Which usually indicates that the present is less than ideal. I think we will see some selling pressure this week, but let's check the daily cards. Monday, daily card is the Emperor, strong card, can trend, but equal chance of closing near flat. Tuesday, Ace of Swords, retracement in the form of a strong trend that challenges a major level. Okay. If Monday is green, then take profit short term and look to sell rallies on Tuesday. Or flip that. I think Monday has been red. Aces can often bring new trends, so watch out for follow-on energy Tuesday and night and Wednesday morning. Wednesday, King of Pentacles generates slow, methodical grind, manifests from the form of in the form of a momentum or trend day. Wednesday, Miss Cleo thinks crypto's trendy. This is a setup, though, right now, for sure. Maybe slow-moving morning. Don't fall asleep. Once it gets moving, it's going to go into Thursday. What is Thursday? Thursday, Ace, Knight, Queen. Interesting formulation. It could bring start, follow, continue. Meaning Tuesday, Thursday, all move in the same. Tuesday through Thursday, all move in the same direction. Interesting. Queen does tend to chop people up, but so if Wednesday is near flat, expect a trend day here on Thursday. Otherwise, flirt with a flat close regardless of any big swings. Friday is death. Oh, God. Was Friday the death card? Really? What was it? Oh, it was death. All right. Friday's death. What does that even mean? I don't like that. 90%. What? 90% chance of mean reversion here and 65% of a trend day. Okay, that's like 155%, Miss Cleo. What are you doing? What are you doing? Plan to move the opposite of Thursday in the direction of momentum. Tends to bring reversal the following day, which would be Saturday, in the same direction, which means we'll expect the exact opposite on Monday. So Monday is today. That's down. So it means rally into the weekend. Big energy day. So I trimmed my ETHU, by the way, because I had hit my target on a lot of that. But it's really interesting that she's calling that, because here's Ethereum. And what I was looking at was this, and I'm just going to make this kind of clean chart. So we have connect, and I was looking all season this whole time. I think we're here. So this pullback, that's exactly what I was expecting. So we get a little breach, 41. I had 39 as the target. Where's 38.5? I think it's all about how this digests. And honestly, this is probably, this is like critical mass on Ethereum. If you didn't know that, this is a big deal moment right now for this guy. So critical mass on Ethereum for sure. We're at the triple top. There's no such thing as a triple top, right? That's the saying. We're in this area right now. If we get a little bit of a pullback, I think it's going to be rough from here. But if we make a fourth attempt, let me do this. So here's the top, 4,088. So I'm calling this 1, 2, 3 attempts at this major line. Right here is that you want to tag this high. So what is this high? This is September 2021 high. This is your primary pivot. So you can see this area just over 4K. Big deal here. Massive overhead resistance. Breaks through. Access support, and a big old breakdown. So critical mass on Ethereum, yes. But do we hold? I think that's what's going to be key. So can this pull back? I'm going to do a couple of things. I think. Sorry, guys. I'm going to spend a little bit of time on this. I do think this is an important chart. If we pull back just a little bit, I think in this area, right in here, that could feel really ugly. 3,500 could feel brutal. Let's say realistically, because it's a 1 week pullback realistically in here. So anywhere from 37 to 35. If that holds, then I think we will make that fourth attempt, and it's going to look a little bit like this. Inside here, you might have a little pivot. So if you wanted to be a little bit safer, you could say, okay, this is going to pull back, but then you'll see this and you wait for something like this. I don't know that I'm going to try and chase this if we get a 36. I think we could, but quite frankly, this is pretty realistic in terms of what I would expect from crypto right now, which puts that like out a couple weeks on the next one. Is that enough for you? But yeah, critical mass on Ethereum. You could pull this level also all the way back over here. So, I mean, lots of confirmation or confluence, if you will, for that 35 and change. That's what I would look to see hold. And then if we make that fourth attempt at this 4K level, that should break, in my opinion, but that might be a while. So hence why I closed a lot of my ETHU. Omelet principle is out. It's an amazing trade. Made a good change. But we will see, which brings us to Bitcoin. I think at this point, we might actually see Bitcoin dominance like show back up, which is exactly what we're getting right now. So even though, where's Bitcoin? Bitcoin might be down 3.5%. Yeah, so Ethereum down 4%. That is Bitcoin dominance right now, at least for there. 4K was my target before. Yep, bingo. So I think we all, at least if you were in our group, you had this all planned out ahead of time. We nailed all of this so far. But, stocks and crypto, they go three directions. They're either resting or they're running. Listen, guys, it's a big run. It was a great run, but give it some time to breathe. Give it some time to breathe. And yes, we will look at NVIDIA today. So let's go ahead and hit the top of this list. Oh, you guys are all in there. Man, Amit is asking for AMD. I'm just telling you, this is all right. So there were so many asking about Rivian first. So I'll hit Rivian. We call her Rivi and Rivian. So earnings isn't for a while, which is crazy to see this. So we did get a new cash infusion. This level right here is 1350. To me, it was really like 1280. This is your major. I'll show you where 1280 comes from. Right here. That's 1280. So this area, when we lost it the first time. So first of all, my last long was here. Like real long, or was it somewhere in here? And we shot up like almost 80% real quick, took some profits, pulled back, and I was holding my runners, and then I ended up closing this when it lost this level. And then just recently I bought back some right around 11 and change, or it might have been a little bit higher, 1250s. 1250s, just slightly below where I bought it. And I think you can see a lot of that if you just think about that for a second. So as an investor, I sold a lot at 1280 when it lost its uptrend. It just lost its uptrend. We pulled back. We essentially got, this was that cash injection from Volkswagen. All of that priced out. So you were getting that for free. But it was still kind of dealing with this major area. So this becomes like your massive pivot area between 350 or 1350 and 1280. If it can hold this, I think it can. But you're definitively going into this box right here. So this is where we had trouble last time. This puts her about 1550. I know it looks like a big day today. 13.5%. Look, that's a big day by any stretch. I think we fill into this fair value right around 16.25. And then you got to see what happens. Because if you get that and then you get a pullback, but if that pullback holds over that 15.25 level, so the trajectory looks a little bit like this. So you might get a little pivot, say some news happens, you get something like that, and then you get a pullback. If this holds, then that looks really good. Looks really good. I wouldn't expect it to be over 18 before earnings, but I would expect it to be in this kind of box right here. So that's what I see right now. I'd rather see it go right into that supply zone at 15. A rejection is going to be rough if you get it. So if you get a rejection here, it's going to be rough, and it's going to be all the way back to that 1280 area. And then I would consider potentially picking up a full position if that started to base out around that area and make like a new higher low. That's what I would consider potentially. This may seem pretty accurate right now. We'll see. This is very news flow driven, very, very news flow driven. All right. Lucid. Yeah, no, I'm not going to go over Lucid for sure. Look at this. So, but do you know what MBIS is? I'm just curious. So this is, I forgot what it's called. This is like a Russian stock. It's like a relist. He might be gone. I forgot what this used to be called. Yeah. I think this is contact us. Some software thing. Nah, yeah, it is software thing. Anyways, there's a lot of bullish sentiment on it. I will give it that. Palantir. We'll hit Palantir. So Palantir super toppy this morning. By the way, do you guys remember PTIR? 2x leverage Granite shares, PTIR. Boom. Look at this thing. Opened at 23 bucks, 152 in the pre-market today. Is that insane? 2x leverage Palantir. Just absolutely ridiculous. So Palantir does this, right? We've had, this is an exhaustion candle or a kill candle, kind of kills the trend. You could chill for a little bit. We've had many, many, many of these. Here was the last one right here. This is probably the most, this looks like one of the biggest ones so far. Full blown outside day. So number one rule, don't swing short on an outside day. Number one rule. So outside means that today's price action is outside of the prior day's price action. So this is the prior day's price action right there. So I'm telling you now not to short this at the close. That's just not what you do. Usually a day like this will start to revert a little bit. But this is such an outside candle. It's kind of a tough one. Probably the biggest blow off that it's had. It's tomorrow. So we got a couple levels. So this is half of Friday's session right here. And I think Friday's session becomes really important when you're going to read forward on Palantir. I'm going to do one more just in case. So, and half of today's session from the pre-market highs is going to be right at yesterday's high. So I think, and I'll give it to you this way. For sure, if Palantir is over 74, you're going back to Friday's high around 77 for sure. But then you got to stop, right? Because this could be a multi-week kind of consolidation again, 2-week consolidation. And it's not, so this is your box now, essentially from here to here. It's got to get outside of this range, which it could, but it's not closing outside this range right now. So that's number one. Unless you're full, like really far out of today's range, and that is tomorrow. So whatever today's range is tomorrow, that's what you got to trade against. Your pivot's going to be halfway from Friday's range, and then target at halfway from this big range, which is which is exactly Friday's high. So, but your turnaround point is at $74. So you let this kind of like chop around and do what it does. Eventually, at some point, if you get this is a tradable event, right? You could get a pop, push up, and then this becomes your next target all the way back up. You don't really do anything here. But if it holds this, you're going all the way back through, and then you stop, right? Because this is the box. At that point, you could see a big reversal of the same box, and it could be in this kind of a range for a long time. So be very cautious there. Tomorrow, whatever today's low ends up being, if it's extending lower tomorrow below today's low, then yeah, we can look at something lower, which maybe to the 65s, and it may be quick and dirty. So the 65 is about the 20-day simple moving average. I'm just added a couple of things. I'm going to take some stuff. So 20-day simple moving average is 64. Right here is this gray line, 64 and change. Would line up pretty much to this volume shelf right here, where there's a lot of confluence as well, or a decent amount of confluence. Every time we've had this kind of a dip on Palantir, quite frankly, like here is the last one, open up at the highs, you get this like back half dip, but that ends up being the low, and then you're all the way back on its merry way. There was like this crazy $69 wall right here. So 69.90 is going to be a reference point. So this was like a reload seller. So we had a bunch of orders going out just under $70. We're not even there yet. If this does that, and this is going to be interesting. So if for whatever reason today fails and gets to retest this $70 level, I want to see what do these people do that were just selling the crap out of Palantir at 70? Do they buy it back or not? So actually, I think this becomes a more important level. If this fails, you're definitely going down here. But the most interesting pullback to me is going to be around this if we see it. And I don't have any reason to think that we're going to see it so far. As long as we're over Friday's low, which we are, I think this goes back up. That's just my sentiment. But if for whatever reason we see this $70 wall get tested, I wonder, because this was a ton of volume, you guys, it's going to be really interesting to see if they end up buying back those shares. That could be a massive pop. So definitely keep that on watch for sure. Thoughts on alt season. So, okay, man, that's we kind of went over with the cryptos with ETH, right? So I think the alts take a breather. If you get a little bit of a pullback, I think you start reload, because I don't think we're done by any means. RX. This is Royalty Pharma, right? RX. Yeah. This one, I'm not really familiar with this. I mean, I am, but I am not. This is kind of like the HIMS. I don't know if it's really HIMS competitive. I'd honestly rather HIMS, because I don't think this company has a big moat. But I'm not super familiar with it, man. So it's not one I should really cover. Yeah. So late rate sensitives, classic rate sensitives. I think this is crucial. So this is not this week, but next week, right? Oops, it's not rate. Look at you guys. So next week we have, and I'll just pull this up. we have FOMC. So this month, is it this month? Yeah, so this is this week, Thursday into Friday. PCE. Oh, where is it? Oh, yeah, next week the 18th. So FOMC we get on next Wednesday. So I think all of this is to say, hey, look, we're getting a little pullback right now because we had a big run. We're getting a little pullback after non-farm payrolls going into CPI. If CPI, which right now is estimated at 0.3%, look at this. So we'll do the month over month look. I think this is going to be pretty flat. Pretty flat. I don't see any major changes. If we come in anything lower than 0.3, then the year over year is going to change to the downside. And year over year is expected to be exactly flat. And I think that's probably accurate. So I think this pullback is kind of like a little bit of a fear, some profit taking into CPI. Whatever happens, then we get PPI, which, that could be, it's not going to be this month. It's going to be the next month, next 2 months. So PPI might be a hard one to actually show good numbers on. We'll have to see. But I think this pullback is into CPI. Then, fears are, we'll probably buy it up into tomorrow. We might sell off a little bit into Wednesday, and then bounce a little bit on Thursday. And that's it for the week, which probably lands us exactly around where we are, right? Because I think this week is going to be mostly flat. And then it's right into next Wednesday's FOMC rate decision. So right when we finish with CPI, it's like, boom, market starts thinking about, well, is the Fed really going to cut rates? And that's where we go. CBOE, Fed Watch. Let's see what we're forecasting right now. Yeah, and so nothing's really changed here. This is for December. And then we'd look into January. So right now, 70% probability we get another rate cut. Is that a rate cut? I don't know why there's a 10% that there's a hike. Yeah, right. Oh no, 10% that we stay flat. Are we flat now? Yeah. So this could change, right? So if he doesn't cut, market is pricing in 85% probability of another 25 basis point cut. And so that's what we might be pulling out of the market right now and potentially showing a little bit higher here. And I think that's what this is all about. And then whenever that happens, so SoFi, probably static here, but this is similar to an Apple chart. We're looking at this. Every dip has gotten bought right in this area recently, as close to this 20-day as you can. And I think that actually stands, right? So SoFi's got a funky personality right now where the morning session is not really good. Like we had this crazy pullback. This is Friday, and then it bounced, boom, right off of just under 15. We're still in this range, so this looks like more consolidation to be had. Again, probably pending CPI, because if the CPI is high, if we get a hot CPI, then we might be thinking, not to lower rates, or at least the market might be thinking something like that. If it's a cool CPI, then all right, well, then the rate cuts are on. So that's all. When you think forward a bunch of levels, like that's what's going on in the market right now. So that's Square. I don't know if it's so much a rate play. I think this is also a little bit, so Square is just a retest to me. So 94.50, that was that primary level, like retest right here. So to me, Square is basing over that key pivot, which look like this is like ideal for me. So Square can pull back a little bit, but I'd like to see it base over this level and just kind of chill right here, and then move on to the next one. So this is good. I like Square right here, right now, a lot. Where is I looking at? And Affirm. Did you say LC? Lending Club? Oh God. Affirm, similar. Look, but this, when you see a wick like that, it instantly gets bought up. So market's still thinking, look, rate cuts are coming. This is still bullish in general. These guys are just kind of chopping around, waiting for the FOMC, not this week, but next week. And then again, this week's CPI is going to be a big deal. Boeing finally over 160. Yeah. So 1, 2, 3 shots at 160. The fourth one is the charm. There you go. You get a little breach. I think we go 165s near term. And then if you get a real big press, it's into that 175s, which is where I have that first lot of calls. Which, by the way, I don't really care what happens at this point because, like, I've trimmed my principles out. The chart looks good. Here's a 3 hour. Again, on the daily, it was this big broadening formation, pull back right into this fair value. You don't know what I'm talking about. Essentially, this here. So here's that kind of outside day breakdown, tag, and just barely breached this weekly. It's old school calls it like a megaphone, but it's like price discovery mode. Again, if we're over in this level, I think we go into that 175, which is, this is 176.25 by January. The thing is that we have to hold this. So 160 does become a big deal, but today we did get a nice little breach. I want to see continuation this week into 165 pluses. That's what I see for Boeing. But this looks decent. I was really, so when I pull on some simple moving averages, I'm just going to turn some stuff off. So this is a 50-day and a 20-day right in here. This was that area. I was thinking we could pull back and hold high one or low 150s, and that would be bullish. We basically just pulled back and retested that 153. That's exactly perfect. Stay the course. Stay in the course. Staying the course. Not changing this guy at all. I think this looks, if you're thinking about NFP, I could probably pick that one up. Yeah, someone get Stock Talk Weekly in here for Apple. Oh God. I mean, look, it's just like all-time highs. What can you do? What can you do? Let's see. Yeah, this tiger. I can look at this. This is a squeezy China place. Oh God. Look at that. What is that up already? 30% today. Yeah, there you have it. Let me see. APP. This guy just throws out some crazy stuff. APP. I think he means App 11. This is a low float stock. If it loses the 20 though, it goes to 225. If it loses it. But this is when you're guessing. I don't know. Low float stock can move like 20% a day, man. Riot got hit with some news today. TJ was like, "Oh, I'm thankful to sell a bunch of puts. $11. Yeah, this looks like you got to give this a couple days. I would be seller puts for sure. Probably in the 10, like 45 plus days out on this in the 10s. I don't see it going further than 200 or like that for right now. At least not with Bitcoin close to 100K. I just don't see it. Let's see. Okay. I did look at NVIDIA. So NVIDIA is interesting today. I don't think NVIDIA's got a lot of Momo in her right now. But it's clean consolidation. This blue line is that 50-day simple moving average. I think this holds it, right? And that's around 138. So we do have a bit of a volume shelf. Yeah. That you could draw over. And it's a decent, let's say it's okay. It's not like epically decent. I'm going to take this off and say we're going to go here. So right in here, this is kind of like that volume shelf peak. And that goes down to, I mean, really this gray box, 137s. Right in here. So as long as NVIDIA is holding this, I think you're just in consolidation. It's a tight consolidation though. So here, lower highs, obviously higher lows. So I think this is the consolidation area. So if I were to say, okay, we could take a stab long for some little bit longer dated, maybe into January, this is usually where I want to pick it up. If you want confluence, the semi sector as a whole also has a very similar setup. So this is SMH, the semi ETF. I think you're doing the same thing, right? So this is all just consolidating at the lows. Typically want to pick it up towards the lows of that consolidation because this whole like cohort is gearing up to have a pretty epic move. And it might be, we see this a lot. We see these little liquidity grabs and then reclaim, something like that, right? And I think that's more along the lines of what we'll probably see. And then you see this little pullback and then chop into next year. I think this makes perfect sense. This semi ETF as a whole, again, is setting up for a major breakout type move. But yeah, this is getting interesting. So if you see NVIDIA and the SMH, well, I don't even know if you want to use NVIDIA. I think this is more like NVIDIA might lead the SMH, but if things like AMD or we get Marvell might be interesting. So Marvell following through, no follow through so far. That looks like about half back already, huh? Almost 104s. So if you get some semi names, whatever semi that you're watching, call it AMD. We'll look at that in a second. And you see the semi sector as a whole breaking out of this consolidation, then and only then would I be like, okay, you have like double confluence here. I would take that shot, right? So if you see the semi sector breaking out of this consolidation, and then you're looking at something like your AMD, which is a rough chart, right? Like this is not a good looking chart. Yeah, this is not a good look. Like AMD, I think could bounce. I wouldn't want to press the short here. Not really. God, this volume shelf doesn't come into like 115, 120s. Yeah, it would be around that 200 day. But this looks, I mean, clearly this is pulling back a little bit right now. You got this rejection off to 20, back into this prevailing downtrend. It's not a good looking chart. Like at all. You know what to say. This is like low hundreds incoming, but it's one where like this has got to be day trading, like definite day trading. I was looking in this area. If you see it breaking lower on an early day trade, go for it. I wouldn't swing for it though, and that's a hard one. Yeah, I think that's my sentiment for sure. Upstart, this is going to go in with the rest of the rate plays. Upstart looks good, but it's consolidation. So a lot of these rate trades, SoFi, Affirm, Upstart, I think they go into a bit of a holding pattern into FOMC. I think you should know that. that's crazy one to try and prognosticate. So definite holding pattern, but I think eventually, ultimately, probably break out. Can I do MSCR? MSCR is a tough one. So 400 is major psych level on MSCR. We're not over it. I think MSCR likes to front run the Bitcoin move, which means that sometimes, like when Bitcoin's going down, MSCR ends up being up. And I think you could see that. So 400 is critical resistance right here. So breakdown, support, resistance, 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 push through, resistance, resistance, sitting on the 20-day simple moving average. The thing is that it hasn't been able to push below this 370 level either. My only thing about MSCR is that, dude, does it lose its luster because it's not like a 1 in a million anymore? Because there's so many stocks that start issuing, bonds or loans, pulling loans to buy Bitcoin. How they do it, I think MSCR is probably the smartest in their tactical moves and going about that. But this one, I mean, it's probably here. If you see MSCR going down, or I'm sorry, if you see MSCR going up and Bitcoin going down, I think you take that as a signal. This whole thing, Bitcoin was going up and MSCR was going down. It's like, well, Saylor bought at 98, right? And so I think this becomes like an accumulation event since his last buy was at 98K, something like that. When Bitcoin's finally like comfortably over 100, this becomes another thing. But it's probably back in that, 500 plus. If I really, okay. I know these guys are going to ask for me to do this. So I'll just say, if this is that next consolidation, so over 450, it's going. That's number one. God help me for doing this. And then if it does the extension, you're looking at 680s. Okay. There you go. You guys happy? Are you happy? Sure. But if this is the pullback, the extension is into 680. All right. There you have it. Papers target. If this holds right here, right in this area, there you go. CVNA. I know someone was trading that. Okay, so CVNA also broadening a bit. I wouldn't press the short. Side note, I also kind of think CVA is probably, well, the long's probably over clearly, because this thing was like $10. But this is the base of your broadening formation. It's probably something like this. This could be a really long chart. Long time. Look at this thing. This was $4. I mean, what? You got one red month so far, and it's not even halfway through. You're a couple of days in after 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months. But you're at targets. So I think this goes in a holding pattern for a long time. This is a lot of congestion right in here. I would just leave this alone. Seriously. I would leave that way alone. With you 250 at the downside, your spreads are probably more than you're going to make on that. I wouldn't touch this. Just because it's a horrible options trader. It's a horrible option trader. And yes, Slim, everyone is missing Boeing. They are missing Boeing because this is a potentially like big reversal, multi-year reversal. Oh yeah, Yandex. That's right, Kristen. So NBIS is the Yandex. Thank you. God, somebody knew what I was talking about. NBIS is Yandex. Yeah. Okay. NVIDIA is on the 50. Yeah, that's what we were talking about. So NVIDIA had some confluence. I think this bases out. Look, you got a lot. You got not a lot, but some confluence here. This is that 50-day simple moving average right here that it kind of bounced off of today. This blue line. So this blue line is your 50-day simple moving average. I extend it. Looks like that. And then your 20 is up here. So what this means right now is that I don't think that NVIDIA breaks out. I think you play this, it's called like, I call like simple moving average ping pong. So your 50 is still elevating. Your 20 is like coming down. I don't think this breaks through, but you get a little chop and eventually something like that. Sometimes you get like a liquidity grab event, which ends up being below the 50. And if you do see NVIDIA losing the 50 intraday, you take it short. That's fine. That's probably down to 134s. But then on the second higher low, you go along below the 50. Definitively. For right now, I think this could be it though, just because it's NVIDIA. And it is a good spot right at the 50-day 137s. I think, and you have some confluence here from an order block perspective. So basically, where the stock has been trading, I think that kind of holds, but the low end of that 138, sub 138 ends up being kind of like a defensive area. IWM. Yeah, so I think post FOMC, IWM is something where you get your so IWM, major component of this is your regional banks and a lot of those lenders. So because of that, I think this is also the same. You could get some small liquidity grabs below the 20, but look, we are like way at the highs, all-time high. I'm gonna pull this out here. So could you even pull back to here? I can take this off because that's gone. I'll take this off, take that off. Yeah, I think this makes perfect sense, right? Like a nasty pullback would be down here, but I don't know that that's really happening anytime soon. You're still holding the 20-day simple moving average. You're still holding that 235 area from 2021, which I think is key. So as long as we're holding this 235 area, I think this continues to chop in here. But yeah, I think this becomes more of like all right, you're into January breakout area. BABA. I mean, there's not really a point in looking at BABA. Like, what do you want to, so all the Chinese stocks, they just trade off this sentiment. It could get into 101 like tomorrow, possible, but that's YOLO. Yeah, it's all the same. Billy, Baba, I think it's all like take a dart, throw it. I don't think there's any real like skill there. All right, Netflix though, that's different. Sorry, Netflix. I like the retest. So right here, we're retesting these prior highs. I trimmed some Netflix calls. I like this level that we just kind of wicked off this morning. And as long as we're closing over 910, I like this as just another base and break, pull back. Look, guys, this is your typical, I mean, if you're a trader and you're looking for a breakout and a retest, this is the definition of a breakout, right? Retest, base, and go. So yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with this at all. I think it's like, hey, look, this is a better entry. I think that's happy. I'm happy. I like this. I would probably even buy equity again if I had enough cash. I don't have that much cash. But anyways, I like the level, like a crazy pullback. If it loses, this volume shelf here. This is it, right? So if it loses this area, which we're not even close to it really yet, we're still over 910. If we lose 900, then yeah, I think you definitively fill a fair value to the downside, right into 870, and potentially even lower. But I don't think we're even close to that yet, and I definitely wouldn't trade for that right now. NEM. I threw my NEM in the garbage the other day, but I was just very frustrated. I think I'm going to go into AGI, which is a different miner. NEM is the largest miner. The real turnaround was here. This earnings move, just complete disappointment, and it just started to bleed out. Right, so nothing is going to change the sentiment on a stock after this kind of. This is kind of their output and price action sentiment. It's going to take a while. I think it's probably done, but I'm tired of fighting this battle at NEM. Like, yeah, you get an okay dividend. And yeah, it's probably a good breakout retest. But the problem is that the sentiment is not really the greatest. It's probably going to bounce back up, but I want to pick a different horse here. And I'm thinking AGI. Is it AGI? No. What? Somebody help me. What the hell am I looking at? This is AGI. Different. Smaller cap. Minor. Towards the highs. Totally different look. Completely different look. So I'm thinking that, but I'm not pulling triggers just yet. In terms of GLD in general, I do think this is ready, though, because, we'll see. So China says they're buying gold again. China was buying gold all of this, and they've done really good, the country. And they're probably one of the biggest buyers out there. So if they are, that's a big deal. So a pullback in this area, this is exactly what I was talking about. We could see on NVIDIA like this, between these 20 and 50-day simple moving averages chop zone. I want to see it a little bit further out or kind of breaching the lows. Then I'll take that. But this looks constructive to me. Walmart and NVIDIA. I mean, you could own Walmart. Oh my God. What happened to Walmart? Can I short Walmart now? That's the biggest red candle on Walmart ever. I mean, we were way over. Guys, this is so tempting, man. Like, so tempting. What's a Walmart put? Are they short Walmart? I don't like Walmart over the next 12 months. I would rather Target. That's just me personally. Yeah, I don't see. But it's too close. It's like $100, man. I can't really short it either. Because it looks like it's going back to the 130s. 94 puts being sold. Yeah. Looks like some crazy calendars or like a put spreads. I see a lot of put spreads being sold on this. So maybe it pulls back a little bit, possibly to 90, but I'm not seeing anything like that's getting me really interested. Yeah, like these January $90 puts. There's an okay amount of volume, 2,000 volume on today, for today. I think that makes sense, but I do think the Target, Walmart pairs trade. Oh yeah, this is going 132 broke finally. I was in this and then I closed it. I can't get in it again. This is target. Profit target. I can't do it. Like what you could do is like if you get a little bit of pullback, is this the 20-day? Then you go 50 and 200. So I think target eventually reclaims that whole move. But it's been a rough one. Yeah. Yeah. I can't press targets here either. You're right at that breakdown level. This was target. I mean, it's a big deal. But you're right into this box. So, I mean, that's a lot of dollars. But you're closer to the end before hitting the next trade so far. What a choppy chart that is, though. Good God. Big breakdown. This is the fall from grace. And NVIDIA, if so, any of that, I would honestly, I would rather Boeing, dude. Well, Carl, I would rather Boeing. I would rather Robinhood. I would rather a lot. Like, I think NVIDIA is fine and deserves like a spot. You know, if this goes, you're still looking in the 170s, just slightly under 170s for NVIDIA. There's a better view on NVIDIA. Yeah, tag that. So yeah, you can come down. I mean, for 12 months, I mean, own NVIDIA. There are a lot of other retailers I'd rather go with. We could look at Nike even. I'd rather Nike, believe it or not, with the turnaround story. I actually might reload this. This looks more interesting on today's pullback. But it's super chop. Right here. But you see this area? So like buyers stepping in here. Not able to push it all the way up though. I think this is developing a net new investor base. Square. Did we cover Square? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, we did. Coin. Yeah, so I think coin's going to be interesting. So coin. I think coin's still going. So you're just building this base here. So this is coin's base right there. It's another example. Breakout, retest, breakout. Look at this. Retest. I don't think this really goes anywhere. I think it continues to trade in here. But the moves, it doesn't go down. The moves are getting smaller and smaller. So this to me is like into that 370, 380s initial move. But this entire consolidation here, I think eventually gets through. So I'm going to take from this basically high to this low, essentially this box right here on coin. So this is the midpoint, breakout of the midpoint, retest, and see where it's getting rejected here. So we got 1, 2, 3. I think it goes again. And this move takes you into the 415s right in here. So I think that's where coin's eventually going. But how long does it take to get there? It's a tough one. I think you'd be long. I'm long equity. And this move today where it's stopping, I don't hate that like at all right here, right now for a trade. Um, a trade entry investment wise, I'm just long. I don't know what to tell you on that one, but it's not horrible. I did do MSTR, you guys. I gave like a near $700 price target on MSTR. Yeah, I'm with you, Slim, for sure. And I'm actually on these for longer dated as well. Both of those. I got a 130 put on. Yeah. Yeah. I think we could take a look at SMCI. So, oh yeah, so right back to the scene of the crime. I think this is goes into a hold. So holding pattern, no trade here unless you're well over this area. So I think NASDAQ accepted their new whatever filing, but we'll see. That'll probably goes through. But this, I think, gets stuck until that happens, that catalyst. And then we likely see 61s. I already sold the majority of my I bought SMCI like right in here. And I'm like, okay, I'll take my principal out and just kind of let it ride because it wasn't like investment quality for me just because of the management team. But the product I think is still good. UNH. How much time? We're gonna call this for. Oh yeah, UNH. That's it. I think you start accumulating if you like this. This is a very slow mover. UNH. So this, funny enough, so UNH first target was achieved right here. So pullback, retest. I think it takes a while. Post earnings, after earnings. So this is like February next year, probably 675s. Oh, you guys are just slapping them. What's up, Ava? ETH. Yeah, I like to pull back. GDXU. You go short Walmart. Yeah. Russ, no, just no on Mobileye. Rocket Lab, I don't hate. So Rocket Lab, I was looking at 23s, but here's that last all-time high. It bounced right off this area. So there's a guy, Matt. I need to go check out his YouTube. He's been doing like pretty heavy fundamentals on Rocket Lab. If anybody from a MITS channel knows his YouTube, I should probably check that out. But a friend of a friend, like Money Matt or something like that. Matt Money. All right, so I'm going to drop this in the chat. Matt Money. We'll check him out. But he's been doing a lot of stuff on Rocket Lab lately. So we'll take a look. There you go. Yeah, Matt Money. There's his link right there. All right, I think we're good. RX. Yeah, I mean, this is royalty, or no, this is Recursion Pharmaceuticals. I thought it was Royalty Pharma. What's Royalty Pharma? Or PRX? Oh, I really don't know this one then. Nah, you got to look at this FDUFA, whatever calendars. Insider sold. It's not that much. But you see this kind of stuff it's just not, that's not a lot of money. Um, AI defining. All right. This is more like a DD stock, like due diligence. Uh, there's another one, AVCL, that was on like the pharma watch list. A lot of people on this. I don't know much about either of them, but I take a look. Pharma is not my forte. I will tell you that. But if, so what we would look at is XBI. And I think this is also a rate story too. So all of these pharma stocks is very much a rate story. I think this is going to go back into that FOMC piece. So these look constructive, but probably going to come down to whatever their pharma schedules look like in terms of like updates, and combine that with, wow, brain fart rates coming down. Yeah, but yeah, but it was is an AI pharma play. I think it's a tough one. And I don't know if you missed Rocket Lab. That's the thing. It was at $5 or whatever. It was, a potential stock that could 10x. Oh shit! Did this already 10x? Whoops. No, it hasn't. That's 10x. So 11 billion. Question is, can I get to 100 billion? But I will say, this is interesting. So this is like encouraging. So like if Rocket Lab, and I know they're like 10 cents away from being profitable on Neutron, this is interesting, like for sure. So I'll just measure this, right? Let's say we do base out here around 21s, right? Then your target becomes 35. And even then, like let's say you get it around 21 and it gets to 35, that's 50% on equity, right? Less we get to an extension at 42. But you may not have missed it. I think this is like a definite fundamental change going on in this company that's at the turning point. Turning point. Yeah, yeah, so China news. I mean, I expect so technical support, right? The technicals are telling you that maybe technicals are telling me also that maybe, and like news might be coming, but I think that was the low for the month, you guys, on Nvidia. If you didn't grab it, I think the SPY. So I think this is the low for the month on SPY. Period. End of story. If you were listening to me at all, earlier today, like, look, if I said I would talk about NFP, I'm going to do this and then we're going to be done. But here's the deal, right? So Friday's low, guys, we did not open below Friday's low. This is their NFP low, 605.74 for SPY SPY. The high is 609.07. I think we're stuck in this range. It's all about how the market digests that range. So for right now, we expect that we're stuck in this exact range on SPY right here. What you need to see is you need to see a clean open below and breakdown lower. And we didn't have that today. All we had today was that we had opened up right in the dead center middle and we're at the lows. Guys, I'm telling you, in the next 36 hours, we're likely trading hours going to be at 609. Call it what it is. 36 hours, 36 trading hours. So call it Wednesday, we open, boom, 609. That's it, right? And then that kicks us into probably, Thursday here, might be right back to the lows. Friday, boom, that's your entire week. That's what's going to happen this week, just so you know. So expect to get chopped up unless you know how to trade these things. But that is exactly what I expect this week. Qs are very much the same. Look at the precision on this. This is Friday's low, NFP low. It's not Friday's low, but it's the moment where the market got that data. guys, I do this NFP stuff for a reason. It's a fundamental event that creates your technical levels. We did not get an open below that 521 on cues. No, it's a long. Yes, it was a short day trade because it's what it is. It's not a calls. Like you didn't get on the other side. You needed a full open outside of 526. You need a full open above 526.71 and extend higher in the morning session to say, okay, we're going to new highs. We didn't get that, right? What we got was a rejection just below Friday's high, which means if you follow along that we're going to go to Friday's low or the NFP low, which was right here. And if you don't have this, you were probably thinking here or you were thinking here, but look at the precision, you guys. Look at the freaking precision of understanding the fundamental event that creates your technical levels. The ability to know beforehand. No TA trader knew that 521.33 was going to be a major technical spot unless you followed me and you follow our systems. Like you don't know that, right? There's no way to know in the future what a technical level is going to be. I'm telling you now, 526.71, that's your hard resistance. We're going to bounce between these levels, and eventually you're going to get a day that opens fully above or below, right? This area, and then we're going to start breaking trend, right? But not until then. Until then, your trend is literally in this box, and that's where you're going to stay. So don't be calling anything other than that. Like I'm telling you now, that's what it is. For right now, trend is higher. My gut is that this was the low for the month. And as long as we're holding this, that's probably going to be the low for the rest of the year. So take it for that, right? But yeah. And this is why I put Matt's YouTube link right here in the chat. So give Real Matt Money a call. And tell them that paper sent you because, support the family. But anyways, no, this is not root. It's not this, unless you're talking about Rocket Lab. This technical stuff for the NFP levels, it's not price discovery. I'm telling you, this is what it is. And only us, like I'm the only one that's ever done this. Anyways, sorry. I'm getting off my high horse now. You guys, there's your low on the cues. My gut says that's the low for the month on SPY. There you go. But we got to get over 609.07. You need a daily open and close on the cues and SPY, both above those NFP levels. It works the same for diamonds. I think this is the low. Just saying, I think this is going to be the low. Unless you have tomorrow opening below and then breaking lower, then fine, right? But until then, all of this is opening above, breach, retest. If we close above Friday's lows on any index, we're not going lower. That's all I can say. Yeah. This is it. Appreciate you guys. That's it for me. I hope you learned something. My little rants on my little soapbox, but that's it. I love you guys. I'll see you out there.